All right, so I guess this is officially the second short course of the day, right? Was everybody here for the one this morning? No? Okay, a few minutes. I'm not sure what the format was this morning, so I'm guessing this will be a little bit different. We'll keep it, rather informal. So if people have questions as I go along, please feel free to chime in. I've done a number of these with CHI, and the focus has been a little bit different. And this is actually the first time for doing something on this topic more specifically. And instead of taking the approach of, well, we think we want to collect samples, we want to start a biobank, what do you do? This is more from the perspective of we do banking now. We are involved with using samples and collecting samples. How do we now transition our program from either what I'm doing in an individual lab or with a single core lab to something more global and something more integrated? And this is being driven by a number of different factors, either by your own program, by starting to hear what people are talking about in the community with respect to raising the bar for quality control, and also potentially considering monetizing the samples that you have, whether they be to expand them for more research or more things within your own program, or even from a collaborative sense, where you would like to provide your samples, whether it be as a fee for service or strictly in a collaborative sense to other groups and other programs. So let me just introduce myself a little bit and tell you a little bit about me and how I get to the field of biobanking. By trade, I'm a neurobiologist. My lab's always been interested in the effects of neurodegeneration on memory and learning, but not only neurodegeneration, neurotoxic exposure, normative aging. But we're a lab that's very interested in, of course, identifying biomarkers for memory and learning and neurodegeneration, but more from a basic science perspective. And that's important because our group's very interested in mechanism of action. So when you think about biobanks, especially looking at things in brain and in human brain, as you can imagine, the access to tissue is a little bit different than just getting whole blood or other tissue that's more accessible. Over the years, I've become, I guess now there's, this is actually a real term. I looked it up on Wikipedia, so since it's there, I'm guessing it's for real. But as being a genomicist, our group for a very long time has been interested in solving problems on a very different level. Instead of one gene or one mutation at a time, looking at the entire genome, the entire transcriptome. Now a lot of these technologies are commercial, have become more commodity services, but where our group focuses on the development of analytical tools and more recently on molecular diagnostic development in some private endeavors that we have given the basis of our areas of research. And the last thing is I've always been a bit of a technophile. In order for us to accomplish work in our lab, we do a lot of high throughput screening. I remember when my lab got into automation before we were actually doing things in the repository sciences, we learned a lot about laboratory automation, how that integrates into a lab without a very specific focus, and we're going to talk about that today actually. And then also from an informatics integration standpoint, not just metadata associated with samples, but how do you start correlate real values and develop constants for looking at sample quality control as a function of what your downstream analyses are going to be. And I guess what I'm getting to is, our program has grown, and I'm going to give you a bit of a description for it to be a decent-sized biorepository. But it's really, in my instance, a combination of all of these things which has led me to biorepository science. So I think that from the outside, if you look, hey, I want to be a part of a biorepository, build a biorepository, you have to build on your strengths scientifically to be effective and not just say, hey, what do we have to do to build a biorepository?